What if I told you that the reason you keep putting things off isn't because you're lazy? Maybe you're just looking at too much at once. Think about it. You open your laptop and remember you have an assignment to finish. You look at the assignment and think, I have to finish all of this. Then you look at the clock. You realize it's going to take a while, and suddenly, you don't want to do it anymore. So you check your phone. Just for a minute. Then somehow, that minute becomes 20 minutes. And now you feel even worse because you still haven't started. Or maybe it's cleaning. You look around your room and think, I have to clean all of this. The clothes, the desk, the floor, the bed, everything. And just thinking about it makes you tired. So you decide you'll do it later. Maybe tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes. And somehow, your room is still exactly the same. Or maybe it's exercise. You tell yourself, I really need to start working out. But then you imagine having to exercise for an hour, going to the gym, doing all the exercises, getting tired, doing it again tomorrow, and suddenly, sitting on the couch feels like a much better idea. And this can happen with almost anything. Reading, studying, writing, cleaning, working, starting a new project, even something as simple as sending an important message. The thing itself might not be that difficult. But when you look at the whole thing at once, it feels huge. And that's where this simple rule comes in, the 10-minute rule. Here's how it works. Don't tell yourself you're going to finish the whole thing. Don't tell yourself you're going to work for 3 hours. Don't tell yourself you're going to completely change your life today. Just tell yourself, I'll do it for 10 minutes. That's it. 10 minutes. If you need to study, study for 10 minutes. If you need to clean, clean for 10 minutes. If you need to write, write for 10 minutes. If you need to exercise, exercise for 10 minutes. You don't have to finish. You don't even have to do a great job. You just have to start. And 10 minutes sounds very different from 3 hours. 3 hours feels like a commitment. 10 minutes feels manageable. 3 hours makes you think, I don't have time for this. 10 minutes makes you think, okay, I can probably do 10 minutes. And that's the whole point. You're making the first step smaller. Because starting is often harder than continuing. Think about a time when you really didn't want to do something. Maybe you had homework. Maybe you had work to finish. Maybe your house was messy. Maybe you needed to exercise. You kept thinking about it. You kept putting it off. Then eventually, you finally started. And after a few minutes, you probably realized, this isn't as bad as I thought. You keep going. One small thing gets done. Then another. And before you know it, you've been working for 30 minutes, maybe an hour, maybe even longer. The interesting part is, you didn't suddenly become a different person. You didn't magically become more disciplined. You simply started. And once you started, it became easier to continue. That's why the 10-minute rule isn't really about 10 minutes. It's about getting past that first moment. That moment where you're sitting there, thinking about doing something, instead of actually doing it. Because when you're only thinking about a task, your mind can make it look much bigger than it really is. You imagine everything you have to do, everything that could go wrong, everything that might take a long time, and before you've even started, you're already tired. But once you begin, you don't have to think about everything anymore. You only have to think about what's in front of you. If you're cleaning your room, you don't have to think about the entire room. Just pick up what's on the desk. Then maybe pick up what's on the floor. One small thing at a time. If you're studying, you don't have to think about the entire book. Just read the next page. If you're writing, you don't have to think about the entire project. Write the first few sentences. If you're exercising, you don't have to think about getting fit. Just move for 10 minutes. The goal is not to finish the mountain. The goal is to take the first step. And here's something else that makes this rule work. You are allowed to stop. Seriously, tell yourself, I'll do this for 10 minutes, and after that, I can stop if I want. That makes the whole thing feel easier, because now you're not promising yourself that you're going to spend your entire day working. You're only promising 10 minutes, and once those 10 minutes are over, maybe you stop. That's okay. You still started. You still kept a promise to yourself. But sometimes, you won't want to stop, because after 10 minutes, the hardest part is already behind you. You've started. You're already moving. You're already making progress. And continuing doesn't feel nearly as difficult as starting did. This works especially well when you're trying to do something you've been avoiding for a long time. Let's say your room has been messy for a week. Don't say, I'm going to clean my entire room today. That's too much. Instead, say, I'm going to clean for 10 minutes. Set a timer. Pick one small area, maybe your desk, and start. That's it. Don't worry about the rest. 10 minutes. Or maybe you've been avoiding a school assignment. Don't say, I have to finish this whole assignment tonight. Say, I'm going to work on it for 10 minutes. Open the document. Write something. Even if it's bad. Even if you don't know exactly what you're doing yet. Just start. Or maybe you've been telling yourself you need to exercise. Don't say, I need to work out every day from now on. That's a huge promise. Instead, I'm going to move for 10 minutes today. Go for a walk, stretch, do a few exercises. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're just getting started. And that's what makes this rule so useful. It can work for almost anyone. You don't need special equipment. You don't need a perfect schedule. You don't need to feel motivated. You don't need to wake up at 5 in the morning. You don't need to completely change your life. You just need 10 minutes. And over time, something interesting happens. You start proving something to yourself. Every time you start something you were avoiding, you get a little bit of proof that you can do it. You start thinking, maybe I can actually do this. Then the next time something feels difficult, starting doesn't seem quite as scary. And eventually, you stop seeing yourself as someone who always puts things off. You start seeing yourself as someone who can begin. And that is a much more useful way to see yourself. You don't need to become the person who suddenly has the perfect routine. You don't need to exercise every day, read 50 books, wake up before sunrise, finish every task perfectly, and somehow have your entire life figured out. You just need to become someone who starts. Because nobody has perfect days. Some days you'll do 10 minutes and stop. That's fine. Some days you'll do 10 minutes and keep going. Great. And some days, you'll completely forget. You'll spend an hour on your phone. You'll get distracted. You'll say, I'll do it tomorrow. That's okay too. You're human. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to make starting easier. And there are 3 simple things you can do to make those 10 minutes even easier. First, make the first step easy to see. If you want to read, put the book somewhere you can see it. If you want to exercise, put your shoes somewhere ready. If you need to work on something, open the file before you walk away. Make it obvious what you need to do next. Second, make the goal small. Don't say, I'm going to work on my project. Say, I'm going to write the first paragraph. Don't say, I'm going to clean my room. Say, I'm going to clean my desk. The smaller the first step feels, the easier it is to take. And third, stop waiting to feel motivated. This is a big one. A lot of people think motivation comes first. They think, when I feel motivated, I'll start. But sometimes it works the other way around. You start. Then you make progress. Then you feel better. And then you want to keep going. You don't always need motivation to start. Sometimes you just need to start. So the next time you catch yourself thinking, I really need to do this but I don't feel like it, don't spend the next hour arguing with yourself. Don't wait for the perfect mood. Don't wait until tomorrow. Just ask yourself one question. Can I do 10 minutes? 10 minutes of studying, 10 minutes of cleaning, 10 minutes of writing, 10 minutes of walking, 10 minutes of whatever you've been avoiding. You don't have to finish. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to feel inspired. You don't even have to know exactly how everything is going to turn out. Just begin. Because the goal was never to become a productivity machine. The goal is to stop letting the size of the task decide whether you take the first step. You don't have to climb the whole mountain today. You just have to take the first step. So start for 10 minutes. Keep the promise small. And let the rest happen from there. You don't need to become more disciplined overnight. You just need to become someone who starts.